and then watch
Mm.
tonight's episode.
I also have to do that. Okay. The quotes about that episode, I'm nervous.
I'm like shaking. I'm like, how like tiny little chihuahuas are like just that's been me all day.
This just in, Marcie's a little chihuahua.
No, my housemates have concluded that I'm more just absolutely feral at golden retriever.
And on that note, hello everybody, welcome back to another episode. That was all recorded. That's great. Keeping that in. Hello everybody, welcome back to another episode of From the Fourth Line, presented by Offside News. I'm your host Emma, and I'm joined as always by my lovely co-host Marcie.
Hello.
I'm so proud of myself. I did it.
Yay!
I've been struggling with the intros lately, but I've been on top of it. Yeah. Hello, we're back. I guess we could jump right into Leafs and Bruins, because it turns out we have quite a few things to talk about this episode, more than just the Leafs. So we're gonna get started. Leafs and Bruins. No Austin Matthews in the lineup. He is day-to-day currently with an upper body injury. Apparently it's not his wrist, according to Craig Rube, but like, who knows? Not his wrist.
Okay, I don't believe that.
Could be his other wrist.
Yeah.
Because it was like not like the specific quote. I literally saw that and I went, could be his other wrist. Because it was like not the wrist issues that have plagued him in the past. I was like, okay, so you're telling me it could be the other one. But it could be anything upper body. It's very, very vague, obviously, as the Leafs are probably going to be with Austin Matthews. But yeah, but that does mean that Max Domi slots up to first line center. Sure. I mean, look, I had to laugh a little bit only because like for like the days prior to this, between Sunday's game and Tuesday's game, there was like not demands, but there was talks about like moving Domi up to Matthews' line, like moving him up to the first line. And like we got it. You got like to the Leafs goes, you got your Max Domi first line. It just came at the expense of like, hey, no Austin Matthews up there either. So, but yes, Stolarz takes the start in net versus Jeremy Swayman. And my jump right into the notes. First period was not fairly boring. It was pretty exciting still, just no one scored any goals. It was a physical game from the start, I think I would say, though.
Yeah.
Like,
definitely. It was nice. It was very chippy.
Yeah. Feels like I have written down feels like a playoff game in November.
It did. It had a very different vibe to like every other game of the season.
Yeah, and maybe like some of that, I think is probably some of that is Boston, just because it's Boston,
Being
right?
Boston.
Like, and we'll probably see it next week when Sens come into town, because they tend to play that way against Toronto. I like it because it means that I get to watch both teams that I talk about at the same time. Which is great. Makes it easy for me to actually watch the game. I'm not double screening, essentially, is what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
Usually I am like watching two games at once. But yeah, fairly even after the first period, I'd say, even on the penalties. I do have to, we're going to talk about Leafs special teams in a little bit, but with Austin Matthews not in the game, it obviously means that he's not on the power play unit. Not on the power play at all, but not on the first power play unit. And Morgan Rielly on the power play in the second period. It works. The power play works.
If anyone, I wish you could have seen me.
I had shock on my face. I was shocked.
I did. You know when I do that thing where I'm like so baffled that I just kind of like sit back and look around for a minute to make sure that like I'm
Yeah,
not
because
being
you did it this
no
morning when
cameras.
I sent you the athletic article. Yes, I have seen it.
Yeah, that I was like that for the
I
entire
hope you guys
year.
have all like gone and read that athletic article
Please.
because it's peak like athletic like fluff piece, right? That's all it is. But it's one of those like ones that become, I know it's going to just become a part of like Matthew Nyes and Joseph Wool's like lore as players. That article.
It's like the Wallmeyes article.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like it just is.
Yeah.
Oh, I was changed forever by that. Never be the same.
Yeah.
But no, we will get into that later.
We will. William Nylander. Again, this is still in the second period. William Nylander. This goal. This goal was so stupid.
Oh.
So William Nylander is off to the side of the net, essentially at the goal line. Matthew Nyes, net front. Yeah, that's right. Net front.
As he should be.
Distracting, tying up Charlie Coyle. Or yeah. Is there a Coyle and a Carlo?
Yeah.
On the that's dumb. It was Brendan Carlo who he was tying up with the net. This is why I hate the Boston Bruins. Why do you have a Charlie Coyle and a Brendan Carlo? Why are you doing that to me personally? Me personally. But tying up Brendan Carlo distracts him. Puck goes off of Brendan Carlo's skate and into the net. Just watch the replay of it. It's ridiculous.
It's just not real. So I don't even have the word for it. It's just this. That is how you define the goal. Just
like it's William Nylander.
William Nylander.
William Nylander, who leads, like I think he's still tied for the league lead in goals. I gotta look that up.
Look at him go. But
because I saw that yesterday. I don't know if it's changed with like games that have been played since Tuesday. That's why. Skaters, goals. Yeah, he's still tied for first with at 10 with Cole Caulfield, Nico Hischier, Sam Reinhart, and Nikita Kucherov. LMAO. Lamau. LOL.
LOL indeed.
Matthew Nyes has 7.
He's insane.
Yeah. Speaking of Matthew Nyes and scoring goals, he gets one on the power play. It was power play goals for everyone.
And what a beautiful goal it was.
This is why you go to the net. This is why you go to those 3 power play goals is why you drive the net and why you go to the net and you stand there. And you be big and you be annoying. And I think Matthew Nyes is your guy to stand there at the net and be big and annoying on your power play.
Yeah.
Because he's big and like annoying.
He is large. And what do you do with large players? You use them.
Go to the net.
Oh.
I feel like a crazy person. I'm glad it's finally sticking. Like it's finally like maybe by like end of the month I can stop saying go to the net every episode because I say it every episode. Literally.
Quite literally.
Go to the net. Maybe this is what I'll name this episode. Is I'll just all caps go to the net.
Yeah, brilliant.
But yeah, because this is the one where he gets the tip in. And you can literally see him. There's the screenshot of it, which I do not have no way of showing you guys because we don't do video. We see it. But
Yeah,
I don't know if you
see it.
watched Steve Dangle's LFR. I actually watched Steve Dangle's LFR for this game, and it was brilliant. Not brilliant, but like it was the fact where I wasn't like filled with incandescent rage watching it.
Which is, rare.
Yeah, it's rare that I don't feel at least like a little bit mad watching a Steve Dangle LFR video, but that one I did not feel any rage. And he put up the screenshot. Um, and he put up the screenshot, and it literally is just William Nylander taking the shot, and Matthew Knies standing directly in front of Jeremy Swayman. And this is what I mean. And this is what I've been saying since day one. And we can talk a little bit later about how specifically the Leafs special teams, like how they performed without Austin Matthews, how the Leafs performed without Austin Matthews. But first, we're going to get through the game because we have to give our flowers, our from the fourth line flowers, to noted fourth line Florbo, Steven Lorentz, who got an empty net goal. It was an absolute rocket of a shot too. Like,
oh, it was beautiful.
It was clean. There was no look of it like dribbling down the ice. It was a rocket into the back of the net. Puts the Leafs up 4-0, and they still have 3 minutes left. Anthony Stolarz makes a flurry of brilliant saves, and gets the shutout. Game over. Leafs win against the Boston Bruins. Their first time doing so in 2 years during the regular season, which is crazy.
Insane.
Yeah, Anthony Stolarz with his first shutout as a Leaf as well.
Yay!
Very exciting. I do say there's a lot of penalties. There was one too many men penalty, which I thought we left that behind. That just seemed like a really weird change where there was probably some miscommunication. But like, can we not do that again?
Yeah, please no more.
There was still fairly even for penalties. There was just a lot of penalties this game, like overall. I don't know the exact breakdown of like 5-on-5 time and like even like time at even strength and things like that. I could look it up, but do I want to like sit here and like in awkward silence as I try and find it? No. So we're just gonna like pretend that it was probably a lot. Right?
Yeah, I just remember messaging you during the game about my thoughts and feelings on Ryan Reeves.
I think people know our thoughts and feelings on Ryan Reeves. I think we've been pretty vocal about that contract in the past. Oh, are you going to do a dramatic reading here?
Yeah, it's slightly unfortunate given the current situation, but Kamala Harris, what is your plan to abolish Ryan Reeves? You see, it was funny at the time.
It was funny at the time because this was Tuesday night.
This was before the world went to shit.
Yeah. Yeah. I think we're not going to hide our political opinions on this podcast.
I think our political opinions are very, very obvious.
Considering the online publication that this podcast is affiliated with, as well as just both the just everything about us.
Yeah, and given my commentary on the UK's recent elections.
Yeah.
I think it's
very
clear as day.
Clear as day. But yeah. I will say it was a good job by the Leafs penalty kill, managing to kill off all of Boston Bruins power plays. It was impressive. It was good. It looked good. I think, you know what, it was effective. As it tends to be with like the main group of guys that the Leafs put on the penalty kill. without Connor Dewar. Bring back Connor Dewar. I'm like waiting for his season debut so much. Everyone knows how I feel about Connor Dewar.
Yeah.
Marcie got to witness the 3 minutes of panic that I had between Connor Dewar getting traded and Connor Dewar getting traded to Toronto.
I'll never forget. You invented a 6th stage of grief. It was
Which was joy.
yeah. I was just the way I sat and just like just got like a flurry of messages.
And then it was like, oh, he's all
Oh, what a time.
Oh, I love Connor Dewar.
And now here we are.
Love Dewey. Yeah. I also want to see if the power play performance is long term. This is where we're going to talk about the Leafs power play and specifically the way the Leafs play without Austin Matthews. Now, there's a Sportsnet stat which I think I'll be able to pull up quickly. I don't have it bookmarked, but I definitely I believe it's a Sportsnet stat. If it's not, I'm about to like Sportsnet stats. Do to do, do to do, do to do, do to do.
You to do.
No, it's not a Sportsnet stat, which means I think it was probably Joshua Cloakey, which shout out to my goat. Joshua. Is it not Joshua Cloakey? I don't think it was Joshua Cloakey.
Who was it then? We will never know.
We will never know. It doesn't matter. It was simply just it was someone putting out the Leafs records without various players out of the core four. So it was like Leafs without Austin Matthews, Leafs without John Tavares, Leafs without Morgan Rielly. There's not enough of a sample for Leafs without William Nylander because he just simply has not missed enough games, which is a crazy thing to think about. Yeah. It's pointless looking at that record, but like that just also proves to his longevity as a player. And then like Leafs without Mitch Marner. And like the Leafs without Matthews, Rielly, and Tavares are winning records. Those are winning records. Without Mitch Marner, it is a losing record. And I think a lot of that plays into the type of player that Mitch Marner is and that the rest of those guys are. And I'm not saying that those guys are bad and that the Leafs are better off without them. That's not what I'm saying. And that's not what those stats are trying to showcase. It's to showcase the fact that the Leafs not need Mitch Marner, but you need a playmaker like Mitch Marner on your roster. And you are not going to be able to do much better than him.
No.
And this also goes back to you can't get rid of Mitch Marner. Getting rid of Mitch Marner not being able to replace him with something as equal or better of a product, which is nearly basically impossible right now because you're not going to be able to do it for cheaper.
No, it would be the most insane fumble.
It would. He's going to go somewhere and he's going to become a Stanley Cup winner. I can almost guarantee it.
Yeah, he leaves.
He leaves because he'll obviously go to a playoff team, right? Like if he leaves in free agency, he's going to go to a playoff team. If he leaves, that team is going to win.
Yeah, it's like a guarantee.
A guarantee. Yeah. But at least without Austin Matthews specifically, because that's who we're looking at, because that's who the Leafs are playing without, is not a very much different team, but more so the focus on the ice from them and what they are focusing on trying to do with the puck is different. Because obviously Austin Matthews is very, very good. Yes, we know that. He's a very brilliant goal scorer.
Yeah.
But when you're on the ice with Austin Matthews, you're always going to be remembering, even if you are not looking at Austin Matthews, you always remember in the back of your head that Austin Matthews is an option for a play. You always have the Austin Matthews option, right? And the other team always knows that Austin Matthews is an option. Compared to So then you're going to direct the play. Like, that's always going to be a little bit more guarded than it would be if you were to like replace Austin Matthews with someone else. And literally anyone. Like just like baseline average run of the mill guy who can like play on your power play. Right?
Yeah.
So obviously the Leafs then try to look for Austin Matthews. And I'm not saying that's a negative thing. I mean, I think, you should obviously be looking at Austin Matthews. But like on the power play specifically, when you're not looking at Austin Matthews, the power play changes.
Mm.
And it had to reshuffle. And you could see it. And you could see the way that it changed in this game, especially if you compare it to how it looked against Minnesota, which is another game where they got a power play goal, but still that power play goal happened because everyone was focused on Austin Matthews with the puck. And then he made the pass and no one could readjust to William Nylander having the puck in time before he got the shot off.
Yeah.
But that's not always going to work.
No.
And I think this game was very, very evident of like, and we'll see it more if Austin Matthews doesn't play on tomorrow on Friday against Detroit. He didn't practice today, so who knows? They're running day to day with him. So who knows? Maybe there is some worries that he won't play this weekend at all. So he won't play Friday, Saturday against Detroit and Montreal. So maybe we'll see then throughout like the next couple of games without him how it goes. But I do say like the power play, it looks different and it looks better. I don't want to say that the power play before was bad, but it
does look a lot better. Though.
It looks better because it's not always okay, cycle the puck, pass it to Austin. It's okay, cycle the puck, which is, what you do on the power play anyways. They're not going to not cycle the puck, but it's cycle the puck, look for options. Oh, here we go. Utilize net front presence to either like use net front presence either as a screen or as a way to deflect the puck into the net or distract the defending team. And we saw it. I think all 3 goals were scored that way.
Yeah.
Right. So
like it looked a lot smoother.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think because always you're not always like looking, okay, is Austin open? Can Austin take a pass? Right. And I'm not, maybe you do. That does result in Austin Matthews taking off the first power play unit, which would be, I think, the craziest thing. Maybe that just means that like you have to then just really try and send home the message of like, don't look for Austin Matthews. And like, you know what I mean? Like which I guess is more of like a mental thing for these guys, or if it's, you know what I mean? Like it depends.
Yeah,
that's probably like
it's kind of like it's got to the point where it's look for the right option, not
the Austin option.
Yeah, it's like
not the Aus. No, that doesn't work.
You tried. An attempt was made.
Not the Aus. Not the Austrian. That doesn't work. Man, it'll work if you like write it out though.
Yeah, if it was written it'd work. It just unfortunately isn't.
No.
But it's fine. I saw the effort that went into that. You tried.
You did. An effort was made. But yeah, no, you have to look for the right option, not the Austin option. And I don't know how you fix that. Like, it depends. You'll have to probably maybe see it without him a little bit longer, but like,
yeah,
it's crazy to suggest you take Austin Matthews off your power play.
But like,
that's a crazy suggestion because it's Austin Matthews. But like, you're taking him off because he's Austin Matthews, right?
And it's like, I think people rely on knowing that he's there as an option a bit too. Like, yes, crazy good. But just because someone's crazy good, it doesn't mean they're always the right option. And it's like, sometimes you need the change to realize that you can look for other people apart from him and that girls will definitely still be scored if he's not the immediate person you go to.
Yeah.
But what do I know?
What do we know? We end up being right most of the time anyways.
Yeah.
But like also as well as I don't know about you, but like I'm not worried too much about him missing games because by the
No.
sounds of it, it seems like he's a little bit banged up, which I would rather have a healthy Austin Matthews because like an Austin Matthews who's hurting is not as effective.
No. Nowhere near as effective because then it's like you've got him on the ice and that's about it.
Yeah.
Like he's not gonna like be there to do what people expect from him, and then that just leads to Twitter going up in flames.
Yeah.
Everyone being
Like he has 5 goals, but like that's not like Austin Matthews pace after 13 games.
no. But I was like, we don't know how long he's been in like banged up for.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we don't know if like he was pushing through it, which has then not helped.
Mm-mm.
And it's like I feel like people can't complain about it until we know more about like the severity of it and what it is as well.
Yeah. What upper body, like that's the thing is like upper body literally could be anything, and like I don't think maybe we'll never know what it is because they tend not to tell us. Which is like, you know, medical confidentiality is important.
It's like yeah.
So like, and I get it, and I'm all for medical confidentiality. I also do know that like there has to be, because of like the public facing nature of like these guys' jobs, there has to be like a little bit of transparency there. And we get probably as much transparency as appropriate.
Yeah.
We do. And because I see people complaining about this being like, oh well, these guys like, you know, like their injuries are always like put out there. It's always, but I'm like, but you have to understand that like the not fan media, just overall people who consume the sport of hockey, like that backlash of just not being like, oh, this guy's hurt. And you're like, but with what? Or like, what's hurt? Or what? Like, there will be a certain level of backlash by like a lack of transparency. And I think the league right now is doing a really good job at like providing that transparency while also still maintaining a sense of confidentiality that is appropriate when discussing medical related topics when it comes to players.
Yeah, because it's like, God forbid someone doesn't want their medical issues aired out to quite literally the entire world.
Oh, yeah. And I think also as well as like there's a safety issue that comes into it as factor, because if you say, for example, actually, no, I could use Connor Dewar as an example. No, that's different. Hypothetically, if Austin Matthews, it's his shoulder. Actually, no. If it's his wrist again, you can have guys hack and slash at his wrist all day long when he comes back to play. If you say explicitly it's his wrist. Because guys may not do it maliciously and on purpose, but they'll still do it, maybe even subconsciously, or maybe they'll even do it maliciously on purpose because it's Austin Matthews. Who knows? I remember that, not remember because I was like 2, but I was going to talk about the early days of like Sidney Crosby's career. Like I was an infant, or I was a small child during most of. I guess I could have said Jack Hughes, but like, do I want to really say Jack Hughes on the podcast?
No.
Never really.
That's too much. We've had enough Jack Hughes mentioned in the last 30 seconds to probably last us
all season,
the entire span of the podcast forever.
Yeah, just until Leafs play the Devils, but then we'll spend the entire episode talking about Sheldon Keefe.
Oh yeah. That's just the way it's going to be.
Yeah. Yeah. We're predictable in nature.
Yeah. Very easy to predict. Oh, should I change my fantasy lineup? That's the question.
For your fantasy lineup. I changed mine actually while I was eating dinner. But I also want to talk. Stolitz keeps losing his stick. I know we talked about it a little bit when we were talking about the Minnesota game on Monday's episode. But yeah, Stolitz still losing his stick. Hold on to it a little bit tighter. But yeah, he's still making the saves with it, which is the craziest part. Yeah. Is like he's just that big and just has that athleticism that like when he doesn't have his stick, he still is making saves.
Yeah.
And things. So there's that. And I guess we can talk a little bit into the future. Okay, Leafs coming up on the Sorry, I just got distracted by something else. But yeah, non-on ice related for the Leafs. Connor Dewar and Yanni Hankaba will probably Leafs are trying to get them more AHL games by asking for an extension on their AHL conditional loan. It's 6 days or 3 games or whichever one comes first. Now they did play over the weekend, but then the 6 days would have run out, so they're trying to get them a couple more days so that they can play this weekend, just so they can get a couple more games under their belt before they come back to the NHL, before they come back up to the Leafs. So we'll look out for those roster moves that will happen. I mean, there's various couple names that could potentially get moved, and we'll see how that works because the Leafs have to make both the cap and the roster space work.
Yeah.
And also keep in mind that Järnkrok will come back at some point. I don't know what's up. We don't. Do we even know like what he's? Do we even know if it's upper or lower body? I think it's upper body.
I don't. It might be. I can't remember.
I can't remember. Like it's been so long that I can't even remember if like
bad vibes.
Bad vibes. Maybe he's just not wearing his John Tavares sanctioned amulet.
Yeah, maybe he lost it and then like that's just
yeah.
That's why he's not here. He's searching for it.
He's looking for his John Tavares sanctioned amulet through the streets of Toronto. Also as well today there was still no Matthews at practice. I'm not nervous.
No.
Yeah.
Let him get back to full strength.
Yeah, because the Leafs next generally strong opponent. I mean, I guess you could argue that Montreal is a strong opponent against the Leafs specifically. Which, like, yes, you're right. Leafs then don't play again. Like, they do, right? Like, it's Saturday against Montreal, Tuesday against Ottawa. Ottawa's a very strong physical team in terms of the fact, like, not strong, like, yes, they're good sometimes. I can provide very much an honest assessment of this team. I do cover them.
They're good when they like it.
Yeah, they're good when they're not giving up and when they also have the proper defensive depth. What they are getting back because Artem Zub's returning to the lineup, but they also have better goaltending than they did last year. And they're annoying to play against. They're pests. Yeah. There's pests up and down that lineup. You know, you have Ridley Gregg. You have like your usual offenders. You know, you have your Brady Tkachuk, you have your Ridley Gregg. Yeah. You have but now you have other like new guys as well. You have your Nick Cousins, you have your Noah Gregor, who's honestly annoying to play against as well. David Perron has been described as a pain in the ass to play against. I mean, I guess right? So like you have those guys in the lineup now.
Yeah.
So like even if they're not playing well, they're gonna like make you hurt. But
they're gonna be a pain in the ass.
Yeah, they're gonna be a pain in the ass. That's my honest assessment of them. But I guess we'll talk more about them on Monday. I will say, do you think Noah Gregor gets a video? on Tuesday.
Yeah. It's Noah Gregor.
Like, do you think this is the question of the episode? It is not whether the Leafs, you need to take Austin Matthews off the Leafs power play. It is, does Noah Gregor get a video on Tuesday?
Oh my god. I miss him.
Do you? Do you really?
Not when he's on the ice, but like vibes wise, yeah.
I was gonna say, I was like essentially he's been replaced by Lorenz, who I'd argue, while not as fast, is perhaps a little bit more versatile.
Yeah. Yeah.
Better finishing as well.
Yeah.
I know, you miss Noah Gregor, you miss all the guys.
You're so mean to me. God forbid a girl loves a little blobber.
Yeah. Moving on. So yeah, Leafs on Friday will play the Detroit Red Wings. Is this game at home or away? I don't even know. I just know they play Detroit.
Is
this game a home?
Away.
It is. Oh no, it's a home game. It's a home game.
It is.
It's a home game, and then it's home against Montreal. So at least it's not. It's a back-to-back, but not a back-to-back for travel. Upgrades, people. Upgrades. It's the little things in the league.
It is.
But yeah, they're playing the Red Wings. I guess Justin Hall will play.
No, because I'm not gonna be able to watch it, so now I'm just upset.
Oh, so then you'll just get text from me going, Justin Hall looks dumb when he skates.
Or maybe Justin Hall hat trick. I'll take Justin Hall goal. I'll take Justin Hall point.
I will. Sorry, a Justin Hall hat trick is the funniest outcome of that game, I think, personally.
I genuinely don't know what I'd do. Like, could you imagine?
It'd be hilarious. It'd be hilarious. But yeah, no, I'm now thinking of that. I'm like, that's the stupidest thing ever. But it's great.
Believe in the man.
That's great. But for those who, like, when I specifically talk about ugly skaters, and I always bring up Justin Hall, and you don't know what I mean, because maybe you're a newer Leafs fans, or maybe you've just never looked too closely at Justin Hall skating, tune into that game, and odds are he'll probably be on the ice at the same time as someone who is a nicer looking skater than him. Like, maybe he'll be if he's on this ice at the same time as Matthew Nyes, and they're skating and they're in the same frame, look at the two of them, like, next to each other skating.
Why do you cause me pain?
Sorry.
Why do you?
No, I'm not laughing at you. I just got a text from my dad. Hi, Dad.
Hi, Dad.
I just got a text from my dad. It's like he knew. It's honestly like he knew. What's wrong with Matthews?
Well,
Dad. I'll just text him back, listen to tonight's podcast episode tomorrow morning. You'll get your answer.
Oh, hi, Dad.
Hi, Dad. Sorry, that's what I was laughing at. Because I get the notifications, like, at the top of my laptop screen. So I just see that pop up in the corner. Oh, man. That's funny. But yeah. And then on Saturday for Hockey Night in Canada, it's a crazy good Hockey Night in Canada slate. We do have a majority of Canadian listeners, so it's a crazy Hockey Night in Canada slate. I just want to read it off, these matchups, because they're crazy. So we have Habs Leafs, Sens Bruins, which is not usually a crazy matchup, but due to who's playing tonight for both teams, It's going to be Allmark Swayman starting.
Yes.
Because Korpisalo is starting tonight for the Bruins, and Forsberg is starting tonight for the Sens. They're not playing each other, but when they play, so that sets up Swayman Allmark on Saturday.
It's time.
Flame Sabres is at 1 p.m., which is not Hockey Night in Canada, but it is a 1 p.m. game.
Mm.
Jet Stars is another game that's getting played. And then the late Hockey Night in Canada game is Oilers Canucks. That's a crazy slate for Hockey Night in Canada.
Oh my god.
I don't know who decided to put this on a random Saturday in November.
Wild.
But whoever you are, you get it. You get it. I don't have enough screens in my, I don't have enough screens in my house to watch all of these games. Like, another matchup is Rangers Red Wings. That's pretty good. But yeah, so I guess on Saturday I will be spending my entire day in front of the TV watching various hockey games starting at 1 p.m. when I tune into Flame Sabres. Because sure, why not? I'll watch Flame Sabres. I don't care about either of those two teams. But yeah, I guess that's all I have to say about the Leafs before Monday's episode. But I guess we'll talk about the thing that was announced today, PWHL jerseys. Have you seen them?
I have.
Okay. Which one's your favorite? If you haven't seen them, like, what are you doing? Go on the internet. But if you haven't seen, like, literally they're all over PWHL socials, they're all over Bauer's socials, they're all over the socials of like the individual PWHL teams. Go look at the jerseys. They're gorgeous. Which one's your favorite, Mar?
I really like Minnesota.
Really?
Mm.
For me, it's Montreal. Montreal's my favorite.
Yeah. Yeah, I do like.
I love Montreal. They don't have white as their away. They have a cream, which I think is gorgeous. The light
away.
blue is cool, and I know all of them have the details on the numbers, like the little icons. I just love the fleur-de-lis for Montreal. I think also, like, partly some of that is like the logo is gorgeous, and they're some of my favorite colors on like a jersey because they're so unique, and the fact that we haven't really seen like that. We don't see a lot of cream on hockey jerseys.
No, we bring back cream hockey jerseys because they are gorgeous.
Did we ever like have cream hockey jerseys? But like, put more cream on jerseys.
Bring in cream hockey jerseys.
We're gonna move on. I do like the light blue. I think that's really fun. My one pet peeve, and this is my pet peeve for all the jerseys, is the stripes on the sleeves.
I was just
do not go all the way around the sleeve. And I don't know why they didn't do that at Bauer. I don't know if that's like a Bauer specific. I don't know enough about like jersey manufacturing among the different brands to really be able to say like if that's like a Bauer specific thing or if that's a choice that the PWHL made to cut costs, perhaps.
I just don't like it.
I don't like it either. I just think that it looks cheaper. And like, cause like I've also like never seen that on like even like I even have like a free giveaway Toronto Blue Jays hockey jersey that has the stripes go all the way around.
Like,
all of my like NHL jerseys have the stripes that go all the way around on the sleeves. So it's just very strange. I've never seen that before. If you know more about like specifically hockey jersey manufacturing, specifically just among different brands and like how brands make those sorts of decisions about like literally it's the little things like stripes going all the way around the sleeves. And you know that maybe it's specifically like it's a Bauer thing and that's something Bauer just does on all their jerseys, which is a weird choice, but like, or if it's specifically a PWHL thing and they did it to cut costs, either like on if they did it to cut costs on like the fan side of things, then why are they on the official jerseys that like the players are wearing? I'm fine if that, like, I can live if they're on the replicas. But like you're telling me on the on ice product they didn't put the stripes all the way around the sleeves?
Yeah, and it's like I get like wanting to cut costs, but I can't imagine that's making that much of a difference.
I can't imagine them going through so many jerseys, like they have to have so many jerseys that like ready, that like cutting costs becomes an issue in that aspect. You know what I mean? Like that they have to have so many jerseys ready and produced, and like, you know what I mean, right? Like they probably have more than just one of each home and away. The players do. They probably have maybe 2, 3, but you also have to think about the fact that like they don't bleed as much as the men do because they're not fighting, and also they are full cage or full bubble, so they're not getting hit up in the face.
Yeah.
So I guess maybe like, but like they also, I think a lot of them wear, I have to look at like how many of them wear neck protection and like in PWHL games, because I know in international games, at least Team Canada does. I think Team USA also as well. I was watching the rivalry series last night a little bit before I got mad and turned it off at 6-1, 6-2. I think it was when I turned it off. I got mad. I got really frustrated and annoyed at it.
Don't blame you.
I'm choosing to blame some of it is on the fact that like Canada doesn't have a lot of college skaters didn't have a lot of college skaters on their roster.
Yeah.
So they weren't as well conditioned to like play a game as like the US was.
Oh,
that's what I'm trying to rationalize with it. But yeah, just I do like the jerseys though, and as I'm like, I like Boston's colors. I like the use of the navy. I'm a sucker for the dark green. Doesn't mean I like Boston.
I am a big fan of the green.
Yeah. And like with the mint, I think that looks like really cool. I like that. Ottawa's the gray. The gray I do not understand.
No.
I don't understand the gray with Ottawa's, and it's pissing me off. And it's just annoying because I'm like, they all look great. Except for Ottawa's.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, I don't have like a completely decided favorite yet because, as always with jerseys, it takes me time to like properly form my opinions. But initial reaction was I like the purple of Minnesota.
I just find, I don't know what it is about Minnesota's, and maybe it's the positioning of the logo on like all of them, and it just happens to be like the design of their logo, but there's a lot of empty space on the front. And I think maybe also some of it is like they don't have as many stripes as the other, or like they only have like the two purples and then it's white, whereas like all the other teams have like a third color.
Yeah.
So I don't know like what it is. I don't know what it, I think maybe it is. I don't know what it is about Minnesota's. It just looks empty, but it probably has something to do with just simply the shape of the logo.
Yeah, because it is like a very empty logo. Like there's, yeah, I think I just really like the purple because like purple hockey jerseys, fuck yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's between. I love the purple of Minnesota, but the green of Boston is beautiful, incredible.
Yeah,
but yeah, I think they're
I love that green.
They're my two favorites at the moment. I don't like how many stripes.
Just that blue
on the sleeves.
Yeah, there's a lot of stripes there, but like I think the blue, that bright blue of Montreal's just puts it over the top for me. Because
This
it
is
gives
like
it a
a little
pop.
something.
It gives it a pop that like I know they tried to do with like the other ones, but it just doesn't come off the same way. And I don't know what it is. I just love Montreal's. That one's my favorite. But yeah, I'm really excited. The PWHL jerseys, you can go online now to the PWHL website, order them. You get free shipping at least. I know the Canadian teams were promoting this. I did not see a lot of other stuff, but I know if you spend $200, which the jerseys right now Canadian are $275, which is a fair amount. I think you're getting essentially like an Adidas replica, but like it's Bauer, so it's not the same turnover, but like not a Fanatics replica quality. I think I'm trying to explain, but now like everything is Fanatics when it comes to NHL jerseys. But if we were going with like last year's jersey ladder, you're not getting necessarily what the players are wearing on the ice, but you're getting a very high quality replica of it in the same way that like when you bought an Adidas jersey last year, you were getting a replica of what's on the ice. You're not getting like a on ice quality jersey, but it's still a very high quality jersey, and it's not a Fanatics quality jersey. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
So that's what that is.
Yeah.
That's what you can buy right now. You can get a couple of names on the back of them already. I do not know when they will introduce like full jersey customization, or at least the ability to purchase a jersey with like that has like every player on the roster like on the back. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right now I think it's two per team. That you can get on the back. They've just selected two of what would be considered the more popular players from each team to put on the back. So, I mean, I guess eventually I would hope so that you can do full jersey customization where you can choose the name that goes on the back, and you can choose from like a roster is probably what I'm assuming they'll do.
Yeah.
So you can choose the name that goes on the back and choose from the team's roster. Fingers crossed.
Hopefully.
Because I know like some people have, especially because of how deep the talent pool is with this league, like up and down the lineup, you have people who that's their favorite player on like on an international level.
Yeah. It's like it'd be really cool.
It'd be really cool to own an Emma Malte Toronto jersey, I think personally.
Very cool.
Because I think right now it's just Nurse and Spooner. But like, what if you wanted to own Blair Turnbull on a jersey? She's cool. Or like, yeah. So really exciting. I will be going to Ottawa's home opener.
Ooh.
I'm going with my co-host from the radio station, Mary. Very excited for it. We are very excited. We're sitting in the lower bowl as well, so we're sitting nice and close. Yeah. So they're playing Toronto as well, so.
Oh, that's gonna be good.
Yeah, it's gonna be a good game. I'm really excited about it. Also as well, wanted to talk about an announcement today. The other announcement that was today was that the NCAA, I believe we've talked about it, or at least I briefly mentioned it on the podcast before. I don't think we fully have delved into it. Do not worry. I am currently actually, once this podcast episode goes up, have to then start actually properly working on an article with Casey, one of our editors at Offside and also a writer, as we're trying to put together an article on this tonight, or at least in the next, by tonight and then tomorrow, so it can go up by the end of the day tomorrow to really capitalize on the breaking news aspect of this. But the NCAA had a vote and they elected, as predicted. I think there was not really a doubt that this was not going to go through, especially with the announcements of players leaving their USHL teams and not committing, but joining various CHL. I think there was one guy out in the dub. There's been quite a few with the OHL. One recently this week with the Knights. It's always the Knights, baby. I think it's more so always the London Knights, more so than it's always the Toronto Maple Leafs.
Yeah. It's always the Knights.
It's always the Knights, more so than it's always the Toronto Maple Leafs. But yeah, so the NCAA elected to change the eligibility rules for both men's ice hockey as well as alpine skiing to allow athletes who have played for a historically considered pro team to keep their NCAA eligibility. Now, I do personally, we're not going to talk about the alpine skiing side, although I probably will be doing some like various research rabbit holes for my own personal interest as someone who grew up like ski racing, because I honestly did not know that skiing for a professional team made you ineligible for NCAA. I was obviously never at that level where I was considering NCAA as an option for skiing. And I also wanted to just do more digging into like what is a pro ski team, because I'm like, it's not your national program because you can still compete on the national level. I just wanted to do digging into it, but mostly what we're focusing on the CHL. So CHL players, and the reason why they haven't been eligible in the past is because CHL players receive a stipend, essentially an allowance. It's not a paycheck. It is nowhere close to minimum wage in any of the cities that they play in, but it is just a weekly stipend to cover average living expenses of a teenage boy. And this, by the NCAA historically, was considered receiving payment or receiving a wage, which then for hockey, which makes them ineligible to play for the NCAA because the NCAA maintains amateur rules, which means, hey, you can't get paid for your sport or you're no longer an amateur. That's changed recently, past couple of years, with a lot of name, image, and likeness changes to those rules. I'm not going to go too deep into NCAA specifics. If you want to do more research, there's tons of articles out there. And there also Offside has a NCAA primer that is up. I believe that, yes, that primer is up. So you can like, I have to double check if that information is there. I'll link it in the description anyways. Go read the NCAA primer. It's written by like a lovely group of really passionate NCAA fans and writers that we have on staff. So it's really well done. It was mostly led by the lovely Katrina, who is really great to go to for a lot of NCAA knowledge. But yeah, the NCAA. So this changes a couple things. So now, so before it was like players could not have any affiliation with a pro team or even the CHL. If they could not even like receive like a hat. Like if they were drafted in the CHL and they received a hat or a t-shirt as part of being drafted as a like welcome to the CHL sort of gift, they had to return it or pay for it or donate it. They could not keep any gifts for their hockey.
It's just
essentially
wild.
Which is crazy and would honestly make me so like, but they've changed that now where you're allowed to keep those things, and you're also allowed to attend pro camps. You just can't like pro, like as in like NHL camps. Prior to this, NCAA players could not, if they wanted to keep their eligibility, they could not attend like pro training camps. They just have to not participate in any outside games or scrimmages, which training camps often overlap with like the NCAA, like just like the school year. So we probably won't see that much of a change to that, to like NCAA players like attending training camps. We'll probably won't see a change in that because like that's kind of hard to swing with school. But yeah, so it does mean CHL players, they are now eligible for the NCAA. Essentially, in the grand scheme of things, there's a large number of like impacts that this can have. It can impact all sorts of things. Main one currently that I think a lot of people are really worried about is the USHL, which is just Major Junior Hockey League in the US. That was often the place for a lot of Canadian and also American players who wanted to go on to play in the NCAA, as they would play Major Junior there, because the USHL has a bigger focus on like school and education, and also doesn't give players stipends. So they maintained that amateur status with the NCAA. So that's that information. I definitely will probably tweet out when the article that I'm currently working on goes up. But I just want to talk about it a little bit because it is important. It is a big step in terms of kind of shifting the landscape, at least not only at like the college level, but also at the major junior level across all aspects, as well as it could have an impact on youth sports, which is like Canadian universities. Because for a lot of players who've played in the CHL, once they've aged out of the CHL, their only option in terms of getting a post-secondary education and still being able to play hockey is to play youth sports. So we get a lot of youth sports overagers. I do think, though, that the impact on that will not be as widely felt as people assume it will be, or as I know a lot of people are panicking about what it could be and what it could do to youth sports. I don't think it's going to be as large. It may be I think it'll be very much a regional impact, because I'm someone who goes to a bilingual school. University of Ottawa, which is where I attend. I think it's no shocker where I go to school. I'm on the radio. I'm on like the campus radio now. But where I go to school, University of Ottawa, we're a bilingual school. We offer programs both in English and French immersion. It also that means that because we're bilingual, we attract a lot of Quebecois QMJHL overage players to come play for our hockey team, because of the fact that like they can get their education in French, and a lot of them are still not even fully comfortable. Like a lot of the Quebecois players on our team are not even fully comfortable in doing post games in English. So you can imagine how they feel about getting an education in English, especially at the post-secondary level. So I think that will not be impacted by players potentially going down to NCAA. Like there won't be that same draw for QMJHL, like specifically Quebecois players, because they still would probably like to do their education in French, because that is the language in which they're most comfortable. But we could see it impact a whole bunch of other things. So yeah, we'll see. It's something that will definitely not only just play out in the next couple of weeks, but in the next couple of months, in the next couple of years. I would definitely, if you wanted to keep tabs on this sort of thing, keep tabs on like what's just going overall and like overall league workings for the USHL. Keep an eye out on player transfers. There's been a couple in the past couple of weeks. Just keep an eye out for those sort of things. Maybe this is now a reason, if you're a huge fan of like one of the CHL leagues, or like whether it be the Dub, the O, or the Q, maybe now it's in time for you to get into NCAA hockey. There's always more hockey to watch.
Never a shortage.
Never a shortage of hockey. And the last thing I wanted to talk about was specifically this quote, because I think we talked about this team having a crazy offseason. And there's this quote from their GM. And I just want to read. I'm not going to tell you which GM it is. I'm sure you could probably imply. I think even if you check the Excel, I put it in there already.
I did check the Excel.
So you've already seen it.
Yes.
You already know what GM. I guess this is for all the people at home who are listening. All of our listeners can play Guess the GM who said this quote.
Guess the
If
GM.
we don't get it going, Guess the GM, a new game show where I just give you a quote.
To guess who said it.
And you have to guess what GM said it.
Oh, brilliant.
And I think there will be some that are easier than others. Kyle Dubas. I think it was last season, there was a Kyle Dubas quote where I kept making jokes about how it was the most Kyle Dubas quote Kyle Dubas has ever said.
Yep.
But here, guess the GM. If we don't get it going, then I'm going to start our rebuild plan. That came from Nashville Predators GM Barry Trotz. This is the Nashville Predators that signed Steven Stamkos over the summer, re-signed UC Saros, signed Steven Stamkos, signed Jonathan Marchessault, signed Brady Shea, and already had a playoff-worthy roster. And Barry Trotz is talking about starting the rebuild. What do you mean a rebuild? Like, what do you mean like the fact that this implies that they had a rebuild plan in place? Like, what do you mean you have a big red rebuild button?
Like, I'm sorry, who pissed him off?
I don't know.
Oh dear, what? That was an accurate recreation of me when I read that. Dear me. But yeah, it's
Yeah.
crazy.
That's a crazy quote. I think it's just I just wanted to like sit there, just like put it out into the world that like the Nashville Predators are thinking about starting a rebuild.
Like,
Think about also like what happened to the Nashville Predators last season, later into the year, and they still went on to make the playoffs. Because we talked about that on the show. If we talked about the canceled U2 field trip.
We have talked a lot.
I just think it's crazy that I don't even know how to for context, because I'm gonna pull up the standings because I do want to talk about the National. I guess we'll just put it into perspective of like where the Nashville Predators are currently sitting in the standings. Nashville Predators are currently sitting bottom of the Central. They've only won 4. Their record, they have a 4-8-1 record. They only have 9 points. They're doing worse than the Chicago Blackhawks right now.
Which, that's rough.
They're also doing better than San Jose. They're tied with they're doing the same as Philadelphia, and they're doing worse by points percentage than the Montreal Canadiens.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, I can see why you're panicking. I also just don't know like what's up with this team as to why they're not doing well, considering if you just like look at their roster, everyone expected them to be good.
Insane. Like, I don't know, maybe, like, are they putting too much energy into being a sexy team and not enough energy into, like, being good?
Too focused on looking good, realizing looking good doesn't help you win hockey games.
You can't just, like, stun your opponents.
I want to, okay, because, like, now, first, like, I gotta now look at, like, if they have guys injured. No, no offense to, like, Western Conference fans of Western Conference teams. I just can't stay up. No, the only 2 injuries that they have is Tommy Novak listed day-to-day as of today, and Austin Roast, who's on injured reserve since September and is 20 years old, a rookie, and has no available stats. I don't even think he's made his NHL debut yet.
What is up with Nashville?
So I don't know what's going on with the Nashville Predators. I actually I'd have to do like I honestly just wanted to bring up that quote because I saw it and I thought it was the funniest thing in the entire world that it was coming from Barry Trotz of all GMs in the league right now. I mean, in terms of just like history, like who's on his roster.
And like, have they considered investing in amulets?
You can't say that while I'm mid-sip.
I started talking. I said it before you sipped. It was just unfortunate timing.
No,
but have
you
they considered?
didn't.
I did. I said it like as you went for a drink, but I'd already started. I couldn't stop being funny. That's not how I work, Emma. You know this. But it's like, I don't know. I just think it could be beneficial. Just hit up John and be like, hey, JT, drop the amulet link. We're a bit shit at the moment. But who knows? Who knows?
Who knows? All right. Well, I think that's all we have today to talk about. That's all I have today. I don't know if you have anything else that you wanted to share.
I don't.
Connor McDavid came back last night against Vegas. Yeah, but I don't know. Maybe if people have him on their fantasy teams, it's a big day for them. I don't know.
Yeah.
I think that's all.
I believe that is all.
Yeah, I guess we'll end it here then. It's been a lovely episode. We'll be back on Monday to cover a couple Leaf games. Leafs in Detroit, Leafs and Habs, classic Saturday night hockey night in Canada, Saturday night hockey night in Canada matchup. But yeah, we'll be back on Monday. This has been From the Fourth Line, presented by Offside News. If you would like to find Offside News on all social media platforms, I had a long day. On all social media platforms, you can find them at Offside News Co. Wherever you wish, they're everywhere. It's fantastic. If you want to read any of the lovely articles that go up on their site, you can do so at offsidenewsco.com. I'll have that NCAA primer article listed in the description box. If you would like to find the show on Twitter, so you never miss another episode, you can do so at From the Fourth Line. That's fourth, the number 4, TH. If you don't listen to a Spotify, you can find the show wherever you get your podcasts. I don't know where I'm going with this. If you would like to, if you miss us that dearly in between episodes, you can also follow us on Twitter. We're hilarious over there. I think today we were especially hilarious. Today was a good day for us to be funny.
It was a great day for us.
But you can follow us over there. Marcie's at 60 Leafs. Myself is at PRB1. Thank you guys so much for listening. We'll be back on Monday with another episode. And as always, go Leafs go.
Go Leafs go.